Alright, so there's not a chance in hell that I'm riding outside today. So, as promised, I want to do a little bit of a review and overview of the CycleOps Powerbeam trainer that I just got in the mail yesterday. Super excited about it. I don't have a ton of time. I've got to do a 2-hour ride. I haven't played around with the Zwift. I played around with it when it was in kind of like beta, when it was free mode. But I don't really know how to use it really well, and I'm supposed to be doing like hill repeats today, so I'm not going to do the Zwift today. I think I'll do that in another video, but I will show you guys kind of the CycleOps Virtual Trainer app setup, what I've got going there in case you've never had one, if you're thinking about buying this trainer. It's going to be a great investment, so I'll show you my setup, but I've got a little friend over here, and he's going absolutely wild over this cheap toy here. I bought him one of the cat stockings, and I've opened a couple of the toys out of them, let them have them early, and he absolutely loves this feather on a stick. He gets pretty mad at it, so. What? Get it. There's toys in your room. So before I get into my trainer video for the day, I want to go on just a small little rant. I live in an apartment with 4 other units, and we have shared coin laundry downstairs. I've lived in this apartment since 2009, so coming on 8 years in January. And unfortunately, I'm in an apartment which is a large apartment, which is more expensive, and then the units below are smaller and a little bit cheaper. And unfortunately, historically, they have attracted maybe I don't know, a little less scrupulous of characters. That's not to make a blanket judgment about people who can't afford a bigger apartment. This is just, they're more kids, you know, young, early 20s or what have you. And I'm 33 years old, and, you know, I'm kind of past that point in my life where you've got loud neighbors and drinking and all that bullshit. But I could go on and on about these neighbors and the iterations of neighbors that I've had. But today's just an example of shit that pisses me off, okay? This morning, I went down to start my laundry. It looked like somebody had laundry sitting in the washing machine for a while. It was like a comforter and a couple towels. So I took the laundry out, I put it in the dryer, put my own dryer sheets in there, and threw $1 in there to start the dryer up. I go down there a few hours later, their laundry's out of the dryer, and I left $1 in quarters on top of the dryer for my laundry when I went back down. Those 4 quarters were gone. So I gave them $1 for their laundry, which I never expected back. I don't really give a shit about the $1. But then they stole the quarters on top of the dryer on top of it. So they didn't pay for their own laundry, and then they took the money for my laundry. So I had to go down 3 flights of stairs to change my laundry, to find that my money was gone, and then march back up here to grab 4 more quarters, and then march all the way back downstairs. I really hate scumbags. Alright, now to the video. Alright, so here's the setup. It's a little bit more cramped than it probably would be given I've got the Christmas tree up. But I'll just give you guys a quick overview. You got the Powerbeam Pro set up there. Bike on it, obviously. You've got a riser. I do have a second riser back here if I want to stack the front wheel. Obviously, I've got my computer set up. So this is my little trainer hate setup that I have going for right now. This is actually a retail table that was repurposed from my friend's job. I've got the Vornado fan on here. This is I think it's like a $70 fan, but it's super strong, super effective, so I like it a lot. I have this flexible arm. It's actually like a camera mount. It's got a 3/4 inch tripod mount to it, and then I have basically this tablet stand on a tripod mount. Get rid of that. And then I put my tablet on here. Then I've got my cables down here. I don't necessarily have to have this plugged in, but for the length of my ride, I'm just going to keep that plugged in and then go from there. I've got the plug down there for the fan. Right now I've got an extension cord running behind my couch. And the thought process behind that is when I'm done, I just kind of take these cords and I'll toss them behind the couch. and I'll be able to kind of keep it neat. So what I kind of want to do is, instead of having this table here, I think I want to build a stand, probably after the holidays if I get around to it. And I want to build a stand that's a little bit shorter. I'm thinking I'm going to build a stand that's going to go about 2 feet high, and that'll be the platform for the fan to point upwards. And then I want to put an arm on here for the tablet to be there. My studio actually has a similar setup, and they were just custom built. And then what I want to try to do is put either permanently affix like the end of the extension cord or an extension outlet on there, and then maybe put it on wheels so I can roll it away, because basically this table's not going to stay here. When I'm done, I'm just going to tuck that away into my spare room over here and keep it out of the way. I might leave the bike up here and there. It depends on what my training week looks like and what I have planned. But I do have the option, which is nice with this trainer as opposed to the Kinetic, is I can take this off and that will fold up and that can stow right away against the wall there. So super cool with that. It's pretty standard for most folding trainers, even your non-smart trainers. But I'm going to get ready and I'm going to show you guys my setup. All right, ready to go, ready for some fun. Okay, so I'm not going to go too in depth with this because the app is pretty intuitive, but there are a lot of features to it. So I'm just going to go through some of the key things that we have here. So you open up your control panel here. You've got your dashboard, which is just your main page. Whoops, career. That's just going to tell you kind of what you've done over time. I don't have any recent information in this particular app, so it's going to be pretty slim to non-existent since last year. Routes is something I use a lot, and there are premium routes where they program in a route with kind of a digital video, which is nice. There's lists of routes. You could actually use the search function here, and you can search for a particular name of a route or in an area, or search it by grade. Some of them people have actually taken videos and attached them. There's also an area to put being a dumbass here, to put your favorites, so you can actually, give it a little heart sign and put it in as your favorites. And this is the one I'm going to do today. This is hill repeats. Now this is something that we've done in our local area as part of a team ride, and we've uploaded this ride into Strava as per usual, and then we've crossed it over into this CycleOps virtual training app, and it actually simulates the grade. So the electronic resistance in my my rear drive unit here is going to simulate a warm-up, which is mostly flat, and then it's going to simulate 4 pretty much hill repeats of relatively steep 8 to 13% grade, and I will do that 4 times. And if I choose, I can move my little icon. I'll show you that, but I can actually move myself throughout this path if I wanted to. If I wanted to rewind and do an extra repeat, I could do that as well. But you can pretty much upload anything you want in terms of a route, and then if you want, you could attach video to it if you've got a GoPro on the front of your bicycle, and then when you're riding it, you could actually put the video up on the screen and you could just kind of see the road. It just changes the scenery a little bit, so it's kind of nice to have. So another popular thing to use is the workouts. They actually have pre-controlled workouts in there, and basically you're just putting this graph up on the screen and you're following it. So you've got, recovery intervals, you've got step-up intervals, you've got high intensity intervals, and you can invent your own workout, or you can use a prefab workout of different varying lengths and intensities. You can also use this search function to kind of narrow down the type of workout that you want. But basically your little cursor guy goes here, and then over time, as you complete the time intervals, you move your guy along here. You can also change the intensity. So this will raise the resistance in your trainer depending on what your FTP is set at in your profile. So you'll do that by going into the profile area and setting things up here. So I believe that's under settings. Yeah, you create your user profile and you can put your bike in there and your FTP, and it'll kind of build workouts and change resistance on routes and in workouts to adjust for your own power. So you don't have to worry about putting out the same amount of power as somebody twice your size or half your size, things to that effect. There's free rides, which is basically just turning the trainer on, getting the the electronic resistance unit to kind of put you in a free ride mode. If you just want to ride it like a normal trainer or control the power yourself, you just do a quick calibration so you can get your power readouts. But at the end of the day, it just becomes a normal trainer and kind of like a head unit for you. There's online races. You can actually get together online and register for anything, but you can actually go online and race others on particular routes. Very similar to Zwift. I think Zwift is a little bit more fun in that regard, so I want to try that out soon. Challenges, they basically, it's just kind of, it's sort of like a social platform, but it's not. So, you can complete different challenges, get different trophies, things like that. There's FTP testing protocol built right in. There's also FTP testing in the workouts if you like a different type of protocol. Activities, I haven't really played with this. This is just kind of telling you what your activities were. This is just when I kind of made sure everything was working, so that's not really anything probative there. And then your settings allows you to change your user profile, general settings here, your information about your bike and your trainers and things like that. Downloaded routes, so you can do them offline if you want to. Cloud, your subscription information. Right now I just have the standard subscription. I might get the premium if I think it's worth it, but I might just get this in conjunction with Zwift. Knowledge base in case you've got any kind of questions about the app. It's pretty minimal. And then obviously your about page and your version and things like that. So it's a pretty cool app, so we'll get it started and I'll kind of try to show you a couple features before I really get into the workout and you can see what it kind of looks like. Alright, so I'm just going on my favorite routes here. I'm going to pick the Blakely Hill repeats that we've got here. But this icon here tells you that there's a video. This is one that I just found from elsewhere that somebody put up that had video attached. So you can actually search and filter by routes that have video if you want the video to play on your tablet or if you want to connect it to an HDMI cord to your TV. That's an option for you. So I'm going to get this started here. And it's going to give you an overview of the route, kind of like I showed you before. And you'll hit the prompt up here to hit select. iOS is a little bit different, but it's pretty similar. Now, what you want to do, I recommend doing it before every ride, but especially if you take your trainer off, is you do a calibration. It's a 2-minute pretty much interval where you want to get it up between 17 and 22 miles an hour and hold it there for 2 minutes so that the resistance unit can kind of adjust and get your power readings all squared away. So at this point, I'm usually trying to reconcile my speed, make sure that they're pretty similar. So towards the end, you're going to feel the resistance raise a little bit. You'll feel some oscillation in the resistance while it's trying to adjust to your power. So at the end, it's going to tell you to basically stop pedaling and let the rear wheel come to a complete stop. And hopefully, you'll get this. Sometimes it'll fail, but more often than not, it'll pass just fine. So on this one, you can pick race or training. The race is more for interactive with other members. Sometimes in my studio, we'll do a race on a route up here, and we'll all do the same course, and it'll kind of measure it as a race and put us all together. I'm just gonna do training here. Then it gives you the option to start your ride. You can either start training or do a warm-up. Because there's a warm-up built into my route already, I'm just gonna hit start training. I'll hit start here, and I'll hit start on my head unit, and I'll be good to go. Gives you a bit of a countdown so that you can sync up. And off we go. So down here along the left column, you get your readouts of your time, your speed. Your speed is not always going to match your head unit because as it adjusts with the terrain, if you're going downhill, it'll estimate your speed based on your weight, your power, and the grade. So that's where you're going to see some delineation between your head unit and the power on this virtual training app. It gives you your distance, your time to the finish, your power, I'm just noodling it right now, your cadence, which I need to raise when I'm done filming this, and your heart rate, and then the grade of your current area on the map. This is you, this little icon here. You can actually drag and drop him wherever you want. So if you're a little bored with this map, you don't have a video, you can actually change the map to a different style by hitting your settings up here and map type, terrain map. I'm sorry, you hit map type and then satellite map type. And then it'll give you some nice green grass. How nice. Now, there is an option to turn on auto pause. I do have auto pause on, so if I have to go run and refill my water bottle, I can just get off my bike and the auto pause on my Garmin, the auto pause on the app will freeze me where I am. That being said, if you are on a downhill grade and it's simulating coasting, it's not gonna stop. If it detects any kind of speed, it's gonna keep going. So be cognizant of that. Don't stop on the downhill because when you come back, your bike's gonna be at the bottom. So a question I had when I first started using this was, what is that green line right there? You see that line? That's not a glitch. That's just kind of a representation in bar form of the grade. So right now green is downhill. When it disappears, it's flat. And when it's red, it's uphill. And it gets thicker or thinner depending on the severity or the grade. So at a 20% grade, that bar gets real thick. At a 0.3% grade, it's barely detectable. I am not particularly looking forward to this, especially after almost a week off the bike between work and trainer woes. Cooldown time. So you got a bit of a heads-up display here at the top that allows you to kind of take a look at a couple different options. You can look at your power profile for the ride, gives you an idea where you've been, your heart rate profile, and your overall graph. So at any point during the ride, if you want to see where you are to your plan, see if you're on track for a particular intensity factor or whatever you're planning to do for today. Today I was focused on sweet spot hill cruise intervals. So hard, but not completely uncomfortable. Just kind of challenge and wake up the legs after some time off the bike. So I just reached the end of my route here, but I want to finish up a few minutes to make it an even 90 on this ride. So I can actually hit ride again, and it'll just kind of loop me back around and continue my timer where it left off. So I'll just run it out on this flat portion. But if you want to do a loop more than once and keep your timer going, you can do a particular loop or route 3, 4, 5, however many times you want. All right, so I hit this button right here to end the ride. It gives you kind of a confirmation screen, and I'm gonna go ahead and hit finish. Now I did have my Garmin running as well at the same time. Basically, I'm going to allow this thing to kind of compute and upload, and I'm going to keep this one. I have it set to automatically upload to Training Peaks and Strava, and because all the telemetry is attached and all of the basically the gradients and the topographic data is going to be attached to it, I'd rather just upload that, but I do keep it on my Garmin as kind of a backup. Usually when you upload from the virtual training, it will knock out the other rides as long as you set that to upload first. Sometimes it will duplicate the rides, so you have to go ahead and delete in Training Peaks and delete in Strava that extra data from your computer. It just depends on what it's reading from the time, the date, the distance, and what have you. So I will show you how to get your trainer or your virtual trainer app to align with your social networking for cycling. So you're gonna hit your settings and you're going to hit cloud. And it has all of these things attached to it. Map My Rides, Strava, Runkeeper, Training Peaks, Twitter, Facebook, Ride with GPS, and email. And anything that you sync with this will automatically upload your ride and your data to those things. So if you want to do, like for me, I've got Strava, Training Peaks, and Facebook. it'll automatically upload my information to those things. I don't know how Facebook got turned on. I think it's turned on because I just log in with Facebook. But pretty much now that I finish my ride, it updates to Facebook with a link to my ride. I upload it to Strava, it's automatically there, and I upload it to Training Peaks. So all that data is there. I hear my phone going off, reading the upload, so I can go ahead and cancel out my ride here and save it on my Garmin as kind of a backup. And then I'll just check my all 3 networks to make sure I don't have duplicates for the sake of ease. But it's a pretty seamless system. You basically just click on something here, map my ride, it'll open up a portal here. I'm gonna hit the switch here. So if I hit the switch, it'll open up a portal for me to connect to Map My Ride. I do not have a Map My Ride, so I'm just gonna go ahead and disregard that. But it does open up kind of a login screen. You log in and then it attaches your login to the virtual trainer app. So it's a pretty cool all-in-one system. It makes it easy for you to use. It's like no muss, no fuss. You jump on, you calibrate for 2 minutes, and you pick your workout and you go. And it does everything for you. Like I said, I keep my Garmin as a backup, but it's really unnecessary. In fact, today my Garmin battery died while I was doing it, so my Garmin is not as accurate as the virtual trainer app is. But if you don't have a head unit, this is an awesome option for you for indoors. I know a lot of people who are just don't want to use the technology while they're out on the road, just kind of free of machine type of thing, but they do want the metrics when they train indoors so that they can kind of train with focus in the off season. So the Powerbeam Pro or any of the smart trainers with this app is a super awesome alternative to just staring at a wall with your computer. I will also say that if you have the controlled resistance trainer like the Powerbeam or the Magnus or Power Sync or the Wahoo or any of those trainers, I can say, at least for the sake of the Powerbeam, it's pretty accurate. This is a route that I've done on the real road several times, and I can say that it's relatively accurate in terms of its resistance. I think you get kind of a rate of attrition as your gradient goes up. I mean, if you're talking about 18 to 20% gradient, it's pretty difficult to simulate that on a resistance trainer, but it does a pretty good job of jamming your speed down and making you work a real low gear with a low cadence. So that's pretty much it. I will show you a few up close and personals on the trainer real quick that I talked about in the Magnus so you can see them in person, and I'm gonna end this video. Alright, so the trainer came with the skewer, the same skewer that came with the Magnus, which is awesome. This is the knob I was talking about. It's super easy to take your bike off. It takes no strength really whatsoever to turn that and tighten it. It clicks into place. You can't over tighten it and hurt your frame. You can see that this is kind of a one-sided design here, but this works the same way, this knob. Kind of undo that, and then if I want to retighten it against my wheel, it'll click when it's in place. You know, I don't have particularly strong hands. That was super easy. This all came in the box together. It was ready to go. I basically unfolded these legs. There is a little quick release button. You hit this button here, and that unlocks the legs, and you can fold them up. Folds up pretty small, and pretty simple. It's a pretty simple system. I plugged it in. It did a little bit of it makes a little bit of a noise. So that mechanism, as it's trying to kind of calibrate itself, you will hear it kind of, not grinding, but it's like an electronic noise. It's perfectly natural. They all do that. It's nothing wrong with the unit. It stops doing that once it calculates the resistance. So usually you'll hear that when you plug it in for the first time, or when you are calibrating when it's done. It's literally just micro-tuning that distance. So something to expect if you do use or get one of these units. Alright, so one of the other criticisms I had was the instability of the Magnus trainer when you were putting the bike on. This is pretty much the same weight within about a half a pound as the Magnus, but it is, you really have to push on that to tip it over. So when I go and I jam my bike in there, you can still do it. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it seems to be weighted a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my bike in here just as naturally as I can. I'm not going to try to over torque it, but I'm just going to pick it up like I would normally seat the bike in the trainer. Pretty stable. Thing's not going anywhere. Locked into place, ready to go. No adjustment necessary. well, I sure as shit wasn't gonna be riding outside today. So there you have it. That's about the extent of it. I hope I gave you some little snippets of using the virtual trainer app with the Powerbeam Pro that are helpful. If you have one already and you're trying to get it started, or if you're thinking about buying one and you're on the fence, like I said, they're a great deal right now. For $500, you can get yourself an Ant Plus trainer. I think you could find them $500 shipped to your house from online retailers right now. But compared to how much, I mean, if it's in your budget to spend that, or if you're looking at a smart trainer, it's probably the best deal you can get, because you're getting, you know, one of the more Pro Series electronic trainers for the price of the entry-level trainer, and you're getting a lot more features, a lot more compatibility, a lot more accuracy out of it. It's got the power tap technology in there. So if you're looking for that mid-range, like $400 to $800 trainer, I would definitely recommend this thing. I mean, it's honestly spans the gamut of all the things that you want in a trainer: portability, reliability, accuracy, user-friendly. It's super easy to set up. I mean, I'm pretty tech savvy, but I could probably explain this to somebody who's not so tech savvy and have them set it up and ready to go in about 15 minutes. So thanks everybody for watching. I'm gonna get my ass in the shower and get ready for work, and you guys have a great day.